All right, howdy, folks. Let's get right to it. Give me a second, get our act together. Better late than never edition. We're gonna do some futures. Look at the futures. Look for some setups here. I had a couple early and then just kind of took off the rest of the morning, and now I'm back at it. Look at Nasdaq up nothing, 13 today. Settle on in. People are still coming in. Let me boost my levels. Great to see everybody. Welcome back. We got a lot to get to, and I would really want to kind of focus in on getting the crypto arguments out of the way. Let me see what we've got with R right now. R right now. Check it out. It's off of this last ditch down from last week. But what's going on here is we're running into some counter signals. I tried to short this, not shoot it, but short it this morning up here around the 411, and then we just got oversold quickly. Typical reaction dud behavior on a 5-minute chart. Normally we'd look for the type 1 down to target 1. But we just got oversold and sideways. The bigger time frames, and I think a lot of people are wondering which way we're going to break this, because we talked last week about how critical this continuation. Let me blow it up. This dot level here at 500, 25,500. We have to say that's failed. And so we're not really going to get that breakout, at least not yet. I really thought we would be looking for progress getting into February. But, maybe we're going through another 2025. So great to see everybody. Hold on. I got to get in here. There you go. What's going on, chat? Great to see everybody settle on in. Yes, you know what? Incredibly, today is number 490. We got 10 more podcasts until 500, and I, hope to do some special things for 500. That's going to be next month, in about 5 weeks. I have a couple things planned, some interesting people to bring in, and so we're going to do something there. You guys have been phenomenal. I appreciate all of you, and everyone else that's brand new, welcome. Listen, get started with Harmonic pattern collection software. Everything we do here is free foundation. It's kind of unique. Not too many people doing it this way. It's the easiest way for me to do harmonic patterns for retail without having to be, bothered. We got a really cool group. And I make it really easy to access. So join there. Send your TradingView username to hpc@sr-analyst.com. And then over at Harmonic Trader, all the videos, foundation material, basic membership. Just submit your email. I don't even bother you. I'll send you resource videos when you sign up for the software, but that's about it. And then take the 2 weeks and then reach out to me. Get over to the Discord too. Let me pop that in so as everyone kind of piles in here, we get caught up to date, and we'll be doing more of the live future stuff. I don't have anything at the moment. We're kind of muted today, but we'll see if we get a setup here. Join us over on the Discord. That's not the link. What the heck? Hold on. Let me copy this properly. There you go. And then I'll paste that in the link. I'll give away a 30-day package, gold membership and the software. A few people have been taking advantage of that, which is nice. And you see what we do. Again, for me, this is the easiest way to do it and still keep everything cool, provide this resource. So you want to support me, you just take the trial of software and then see where you're at after a week. Probably seeing a lot of things you wouldn't otherwise see. Right now, I'm not seeing a heck of a lot on NASDAQ futures. Let's see how this shapes up. Maybe a little upside bias off that last 30-second, little bit of a dot right here. But we're in here for what, 30, 45 minutes in a 10-point range. That's all right. Um, we'll come back to that. I'm going to look at some big stocks, things like Microsoft turning around. We like that all the way down there at under 400, 380-ish, back to 420. Yeah, I said that. And I'm liking it. You want to be looking, again, guys, these type of assets are going to be winners. And you just continue on this channel as we just continue to increase in market capitalization for Microsoft. If anything, you're just simply looking at this as a channel test, and then eventually, you project it out to the future. It's something like that. 1618. You're down here 400. I'm thinking 650, 700 as your next iteration. I see Google's down 5 today. This thing is so overbought. I'm praying we get some kind of retrace on Google. A couple ones that have me a little concerned, things like Robinhood, and we talked about why Robinhood itself, we've been looking ever since 102 and it failed. And now Robinhood's giving us this really interesting arrow dot diamond confirmation down here. It's a sloppy pattern, but I'll start looking. I'm really curious to see how this responds after today. But that's one. There's a couple others. Amazon's the other one, guys. I mean, these are now kind of coming into the big zones. We've talked about 214 was a big number for the retest on Amazon. We have been waiting for what we call the looping retest. They go crazy on the type 1 reaction. And then we've been saying, well, let's be patient and wait for 214. Look what happened. Took 3 months, but slammed back down, dropped right into the hop at 207. Maybe we get a little confirmation after today. But these are the kinds of markets that are going to be the easy pickings. Buying them on a retracement, and then they continue. And the two other ones I've mentioned before that are just blowing out, just outperforming. How about Caterpillar, guys? Look at this Caterpillar chart. And we've talked about Caterpillar back in the summer at 325. And then, these kind of oversold. That's weekly. And then the daily signals, even going back like November at 550, 575. Now we're 750. These just continue on a rope. And I'll give you the other one, Walmart. These are the kind of charts we just want to follow, track, trace, and ride them for the next few years. Walmart all the way up here on a daily chart with a deep crab at the hop, 132. Great. Now we know we've got a pattern. And then I'm just thinking any kind of pullback and your next oversold daily level is just like every other signal of the last year and a half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're buying. I am I've been holding this long position for a while, and now I'm thinking just maybe start adding more as this thing progresses. And you look at the chart, it's just that's just a phenomenal move. Beautiful channel uptrend where I don't even think we're close to the top end of the channel. The top end of that channel is all the way up here, 140, 150-ish. What's up, Floyd? What's going on, everybody? Wayne wants to look at Oracle. That's awesome. Jobs for tomorrow. Floyd's saying job announcement tomorrow. I don't think it matters, guys. I think we just need to focus on the fact that every time we retrace to a historical trend line, get oversold. That's what you're looking for. Oracle, Same kind of deal. You go back years here, years, and more. I like Google, Nvidia, SMH. I mean, these are the kind of markets we want to continue riding. I got to say this about the QQQ, and I'll talk about the SPY here. Don't forget, there's a reason why we're not really busting out just yet. And on the QQQ, it is the 1618 off of last year's decline. And we've talked about this for a while. It's roughly at 630. So if you want a concrete reason why we are not skyrocketing yet, is we're still in digestion phase, weekly 1618. And I'm thinking, this might take the full 30 weeks to resolve itself. And we're halfway through. Understand that. Like, if we can frame it out, we can measure it, then we understand what the story's telling us. It's saying, I'm not ready yet. I'm saying, I need to digest last year's gains. I need to pause here, take a little break. 15 more weeks. We get to that 30-week window, and it's from the day that or the week we hit it. We get ourselves to like late May. And that makes sense to me. I mean, it really, like, we can't expect fireworks if we're in a weekly 1618 window and we haven't exhibited any bullish behavior to smash through it, and we break it down. This is the thing that I'm a little concerned about still. And again, this is why you get the software, because only HPC's got HSI, amplified RSI. What's going on here? Well, we're still under the 50. That's QQQ. And the bigger story is, check this out. Amplified on the weekly is right here, scraping the absolute low. We really don't want to break down underneath this level. I thought last week they might try to do it from there. So far, they're going to hold it in. But we understand potentially the larger signals that have to turn around. As I like to say, you need more development. And what does that mean? You're going to have more bullish individual candles within this range to start the ramp up before we can expect the higher moves. So check that out. I mean, again, it's all about measured levels, guys. I'm big on that because that defines character and direction. Are we type 1? Are we type 2? Type 1 reaction, type 2 reversal. This is technically a type 1. I think it's already a dud because we haven't come off. Normally, you would see, go XAB, and then C would give you a 382 reaction on any move. And that's 550. So I'm going to park that as still something to keep in mind. If this does not turn around or we roll over more over the next couple of weeks, because this is when it started last year. Last year, tariff talk, tacos, the whole 9 yards came in, and we had a nasty 6-week shakeout. That's all that was. Remember this? Here, all the way here. Although this had a little, this is a more severe nature than up here. This one had a little fake out, and once we broke down, gone. And that could very well be under 581. Keep that in mind before we want to go crazy long yet. That has to really exert itself one way or another. Yep. Floyd's asking, do we range trade until March or April? I would be of that opinion. I think there's a lot of high-flying markets, even silver and gold. They're probably at a point where you day trade them. There's going to be good action. Even the likes of Tesla, which, I think what is going on here with Tesla, we know that 444 is a perfect weekly type 2 with confirmation, but it seems to be just kind of eating it up where you're pausing. It's not like that type 1 last year. Where last year when we were here at 440, I said, okay, that's probably it for now. And we'd look for 340. We got 215. And then that's all the way there. Can we come down further, or is this just going to go sideways? Couple others, like Nvidia is doing the same type of deal. And I'm looking at Nvidia just within the channel more than anything else. We are at, don't forget, Nvidia's up here. It's really interesting how this is all shaped up. But look, that's a weekly 1618 right there on Nvidia. That's 190-ish, and we build out the zone of 1618, 1902. You guys know that that's it. 212 was the 1902 top target, and we're just going sideways. I don't, this channel's still intact, and if anything, you're looking for something to get oversold, register it, and go. And that was 3 days ago. HSI registered, what was that, Friday? Keep an eye on it. I'm not negative, but I don't think we can expect much more than this sideways action for now. We'll get some other signals. Couple other ones. What's up, Echo? Wants to look at Moo? Yeah, that's a good one. Costco for Spoon? Although, no, Costco's on a retrace. I like the idea, though. And then Nike. What's up, Sebastian? Sure. I'll start with Costco. Where are we since that? Hold on. Look at that. Daily. Where were we back in December? And how did I miss that? I'll tell you what. If we're back at 866 to complete that type 2, I would look at it there. Remember Costco was doing the big channel thing and then just got sideways for a while, and what was up there was a like all-time, there you go. It's like an all-time 314 there to there, or maybe it was a 2618. Yeah, we went extreme. There, hit 2618. That was at 1,040. And you go sideways. I do like what's going on, though, for trend continuation here. We, overstretched it, but check this out. You're above the 50s, so yeah, I'm kind of liking that. The monthly, though, is something where on this decline, I did notice this, and it's a big deal. Monthly oversolds don't come too frequently with HSI. Okay? This one did with the close on last week for January. Where does the acceleration or real continuation begin? Get above the 50 level on HSI. And I'm, projecting that this just simply is a pause. And then you go 1618 again, where you find yourself, what's that, 1150, 1160-ish, something like that. So that, I like that. I've always liked that. All right, and we like the long-term trend dynamics of Costco as well. I mean, take this out. Again, if you guys are assessing a market, something, even if you want to just trade it, like let's say we want to be long positioned, all right, we better be operating within a bullish channel framework like this. Or any long position that you're looking at is going to have limited expectations. This one, we're at the lower end here. I love the oversold factor. Let's see if we can get this above 50. I like that. Hey, you know the other one? This is a real interesting character here with Target. Guys, look at this type 2. So, and I've really warmed up to Target recently. We got the ideal. I mean, guys, this is type 1 action. Type 1 to target 1. That's reaction. Type 2 return back in. HSI arrow dot diamond. I would prefer the diamond before the dot, but diamond is go stamp. XA 110.55. This is where your type 2 can really start to unfold. And I like that. Like we're sky high on the monthly here, above the 50. And check this out. Amplified, popping 50 right now. So listen, this has got some real weight behind it finally after how many years? 40 years down, almost 5 years down off the top. And you got to think of this also within the super long term trend that, hey, this did actually, this kind of crazy move in 2020. Yeah, that was a little aberrational, but it still doesn't take away from the fact you can go back 20 plus years and you're surfing a long term trend line with a beautiful type 2. You combine that with confirmation, guys. Yeah, that's a great long term play. Target 110, fat finger long. No, but I would, look, it's 114. 110's the number. Really common for this thing to come back, retest it. So let's just wait for a 110. Last pattern we had on the hourly was down here at like 101. You'll get another opportunity. But I feel like this thing has come out of the hole. And no problem waiting this long because you're talking something that's been in a downtrend for 4 years. And it's a slower, longer term play. Recovery play, but ideal harmonic conditions. Yep. One or two more. I got to look at SPY. I haven't even brought that up yet. SPY. Dow Industrials are cracked above 50K. And if I look at SPY, guys, on a weekly, that's just a strong chart. 695. I'm still waiting for this larger expansion to begin, but if you go back from last year, which was a perfect type 1, and then our 1618 we're scratching it right there. It's like 695 is the 1618. So there you go again. Another ideal 1618 sideways. And that was like 695. So you're about 7-8 weeks into that. I build the box. I think you're in this kind of rectangular consolidation. And we go sideways for, as much as 30 weeks possible. 30 weeks or break the heck out and get into that extreme continuation. I think it's coming. I just, we're going to have to get a trigger. It's a really interesting consolidation zone. The daily time frame has some things where up here, all right, I see why there's some overhead resistance, but again, remember we're like, we could be at all-time new highs by this afternoon. You're a scratch off of the all-time high, which was, 697.84. So, something happens, maybe tomorrow, big fat candle, continuation. That's actually looking a little better than even NASDAQ. But overall, guys, we're still looking for not only higher, but we're looking for the launch pad. Because I think once we break out, last year we had that retrace, okay, and we knew that. This is more of a pause trace, pause sideways, and then we're going to bust it. There's NASDAQ right now. Again, really flat today. Not a heck of a lot since this morning. I'm going to take a quick look. Of course, I'll go to Bitcoin here in a second. 30-second shark pattern. Maybe we get shark to 5-0. I don't even have any ideal confirmation on a 30-second time frame. But, if we do, I'll try to hit a trade or two. I've got my, I've been long off of that. I forgot to update that, but, so far so good. But I'll come back to that. I didn't even want to get into that yet. I'm kind of running two screens at the same time. Actually, I'm going to probably take that off. 90 to 72? Wow. Hold on. There you go. Thank you. Let me come back to that. I'll get back to that in a second. The long position, I did not want to show you guys that screen, but it is what it is. I'll come back to that. What I'm looking for is a fresh trade. I'm about to get out of this here. But let me go back here really quick. I think what be helpful to everyone, quick look at gold. Okay, GLD. GLD right now on the 4-hour is overbought. Coming back, retesting the prior signal, and we're just squeezed here like 440 on GLD, but that's the critical trigger at 470. And where's GC? Yo, GC, where'd you go? Gold, GC, futures. Here, let's keep an eye on this 50-80 area. Got some overhead confirmation, HSI dot. But I'll tell you what, I'm looking for the next opportunity in gold. Okay, because I don't think this is the capitulation end all be all. We would not be rebounding, guys. And I'm going to show you this. Just like the arrow diamond dot. Okay, someone was asking earlier about arrow diamond dot. How do we look at that? It's like this. Arrow, diamond, and then come for the retrace. And that's back up here at like 5,400-ish. Almost 5,500. I'm looking for us to work our way back for that retest. I can almost see it now. We're so close to triggering this RSI BAM 1-2 look, or this bat action magnet move where XAB could almost be a Gartley, but 786, 886. You see that coming together. We crack above 5150, then we make the full retest back to 55. But I don't think this is the end all be all top, is what I'm saying. Certainly a retest is in order. And then don't get me started on the trend for gold. This chart not only looks great, it kind of reduces what went on with that massive candle. We really, you got to understand this with gold, we really didn't do much damage. Yeah, it got crazy. And you had an abrasive retest. But guys, gold target here is still within the confines of this channel, this larger channel, I would say. And I'm here, let's retrace it. Let's go back. We're going to continue to maintain this channel. I think we have to retest some critical numbers, which is like 5,100, 5,150 up here. And we need to roll over. But we haven't seen that yet. So the only argument with gold, we know the big numbers, 3618 is 5,500, 56 was the high. Are we going to bust this on the retest and go higher and go exponential, or is that it? Is this really it? And we don't have anything yet on the weekly is holding. And check out the monthly. All right, we're back in these zones. We're continuing to expand. This is another reason why I don't think gold's finished. Check this out. Look, you are overbought by definition on, this is our HSI reading. But guys, we don't even consider the rollover or any kind of a inflection until that comes out. So this might end up being a pretty strong month. And believe me, a close above 5,600. I just want to entertain the possibility because I think there's too many bearish people who are thinking gold's gone too far, and then you had that smash retracement, and so it's all over. Sorry, I need to see some bearish candle action here or even a rollover breakdown. We are above last month's high. That was 4,900. The close last month, 4,907. That's a big deal. Did not even take out last month's low at 43.56. So gold still on the march. I'm thinking like we're going to find out probably in the next 2-3 months if gold is just going to bypass all of this, and then it's either 5,500 guys or it's 10,000. There's really no in between here. I'm of the opinion it's still higher. I'll take 5,500. I think the next 10% is to the upside, not downside. Let's see. I think they're going to trade where you're going to get opportunities on the metals and miners. But longer term trend, gold's just firmly entrenched here. And then silver, same deal. Okay, silver, hell of a candle. Probably nastier than what we saw with gold. Okay, but we're still on an inside, just an inside month. $80. Okay, the thing that I think everyone needs to be aware of is that if we are truly in a new generational cycle, and I think we are, you know, I still am, again, of the opinion silver's future is higher, not lower. I mean, a lot higher. But from what point? And structurally, looking at the chart, technicals, just looking at the prior price history, guys, silver, okay, coming back to retest the prior all-time high, you know, this peak here, we could have a slam down retest $60 and 60's the new floor. Absolutely. You know, where the last time we did that was like, you know, 25-ish, 20-ish was the new floor, 60's the new floor. I mean, this is an absurd candle for sure. 20, 120, and it gets slammed back down, $50, great. But this retest here and the whole structure at 60, likely not to get violated. So at what point, where are we going to see that continuation? I think it's going to be some kind of a dot. We'll get HSI, and it'll be either like a 382, which is $80. So if we hold 80, you know why? Like that's the 382 there, or maybe a 618 would be a kind of a healthier correction back $58. So for me, that's a generational breakout. It's not a capitulation move. And let it come in, digest, but I don't think that this is going to be the end all be all. If anything, it's going to create a new range. Go into like a 30-week type of retracement where 60 is the low, you know, maybe 100 is the high. You're oversold. You're overbought for sure. You got some weekly readings, and we generated a diamond last month, but that puts us where our immediate resistance is like $84. Keep an eye on that. I'm not selling silver yet. Yeah. What about you got it? Sure. And then silver, guys, longer term, we know that the bigger measures are like 160, 180-ish. So I'm not to worry here. I really not concerned. Um, what was the other one? Uh, well, oh, what about uranium? Because this is, I think, a place where we got to be looking for continuation levels. URA Global Uranium ETF. It's a good one to look at. The daily is doing a retrace where I really think this is going to set up for one of these looping type twos. You're 54 currently. Let's finish this retrace. A lot of these that backed off in the last week, okay, it's just starting the larger process. But the trends, the explosion of the last year, 2 years, undeniable. And we want to be just riding that, continuing to look for opportunities. Here's a type 2, 4363, and there's a bunch other plays like that. Right now, it's overcooked, but get it on the radar because this is going to be the next retrace is going to set up another continuation, and that's going to be like Caterpillar at 550. Going to be a bigger play. Some of the other ones I've talked about, like UEC, that's been one we've followed this for a long time. It's had some explosive moves. It got oversold yesterday, so somewhere around 16. And then if you get out and look at the all-time history, this thing is just it's been on a rope. I mean, this is where when you go price discovery, and here's a good one. That's it. The monthly chart. After this crazy 20-year base, you break out. Now we're all-time new highs. You know, we're 17-ish, and run the scale of ratios. Let's just do it. Where are we at currently? Oh, 1618, 1618, 1902. There, and then your 1902 range is just a stretch higher, about 1780-ish. Pause consolidation. Eventually, what I'm looking for are extreme expansions. We're in that price discovery move. 2618, 314, 3618. That gets you higher. You're talking like 28, 30, even closer to like $35. Okay, these are markets that are moving. We'll wait for the next signal. 4-hour, even on the 4-hour, you're getting oversold readings. Oh, and look at that Gartley from back in November. These are not by any, they're not even close to being over yet. CCJ, Kameko, that was the other big one. And this is barely off. I mean, this is retraced nada. Look at the 4-hour crab pattern on CCJ. Guys, 113 for the return move back to 130 are all-time new highs. I mean, this is what, look, this is leading the way. Take a look here. Serious trending act. If not, I mean, that's blasted acceleration. So, again, these uranium suppliers are better. The miners, in my opinion, are better. Some of them are definitely overstretched, but they're going to continue to win. I mean, it's the Walmart chart. It's the Caterpillar chart. Continuing. Oh, NASDAQ falling off. NASDAQ just rolled over about 50. Let's take a look really quick. Yeah, I had no confirmation. We were looking at this shark, but again, no confirmation here for me. 30-second time frame. That worked out quite well. That pattern there, but I had no dot. No arrow diamond dot confirmation. So, and that happens, but ideal. Really quick, what's the 5-minute look like? Look how tight this is. Loco. And that was the bat pattern. So yeah, I wanted to mention this. We had a bat pattern this morning in the pre-market, and 411 has been the number. I was talking about that this morning to my crew. Yeah, I'll post that in a second here. I'll show you guys what I was looking at right there. But that basically dictates this week. Don't forget Monday. That's a holiday, so it's probably going to be jam-packed into Friday. And where was it? Oh yeah, here we go. So this was this morning, 10:54, 416 trigger, and then I'm still looking for that full return back down to 290. We could get that pretty soon. Let me see if I can get a jump on here. 5-second chart. Let's keep an eye on that. Let me see if I can get something jump on here to get back down to 290. Currently 330. Maybe we go type 1 to 45 back down. Let me come back to that. While we're waiting, let's take a quick look at the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin has been quite a subject of conversation. And how do you guys feel about 39K? If you're new here, welcome. We are of the opinion that Bitcoin is in a bear cycle year, and that just like the last 4 cycles, we are in a full retrace, 786 retrace. And I'll bring up those charts just one more time. But so you know, so far, how far have we gone? 382, absolutely eviscerated. The 382 was 83K, right? Couldn't even get down there. And then we got, I think it was almost a perfect 618 to the almost a perfect 618 off the cycle low. Okay? What we're looking for is that 786, guys, and we've had a lot of concrete signals that have repeated in the same way. Let me get those charts up. I'll show you guys in a second. We've had those same signals the last 4 cycles. And those 4 cycles, hold on, let me get that up. Not only have repeated in terms of the price, but you guys know that there's been those cycle dates. And I'm going to post it here in a second. But and I don't know why we would ignore the same repeat time and time again. Where do we go? At the same time, you have it's an exasperation of influencers calling for Bitcoin, a bottom in Bitcoin, all-time low kind of a thing. But here you go. This is something I posted back in October on the day of the high. That was October 7th. And these cycle dates have repeated over and over again. Why would we fight that? And I was like, well, this is interesting. And then when we had that rollover in October, breakdown at 111, I said, that's it. We're not going to do it. And this cycle chart is what's going to get you through into the next year. So, remarkable. This was posted, I forget how long ago. This guy had posted this years in advance. Well, for that one, 12/23, December 12th of 2023, called it to the day. And so then we're going to bring in the rest of them. The obvious stuff like our trend line breaks, because at every time we break the trend line, you have follow through in Bitcoin. So from a very static perspective, or can we really argue that Bitcoin is going to roll over? And then this is going to be, I think I should pin this to my top. This one we posted December 14th. You guys know by late October I was done. pretty much looking for deeper retracements, and then I was a little gun shy to even bring this up. But look, 2020, 2011, what happened? All time 786. Not only that, I want you guys to take a look. The monthly chart, every one of these lows required at least an HSI arrow before it could turn around. That's 2011. 2015, arrow dot 786. 2019, arrow 786 dot and arrow again. That will be our trigger, and I'll get to that in a second. 2023, bang, 786 arrow dot, then you go. Now 2027, how does that look? All right, the 786 thesis repeating ratios is the only number I have left, and then I'll tell you when it's ready to go back in. We'll get to the 786. We're going to have an arrow, maybe even a dot, and then you go back in. But guess what? That's at the end of this year. So you guys know what I'm going to say here. All right? Unless you have verifiable measured levels, signals to trigger that trade again, there's nothing here on Bitcoin at all. And I'm even of the opinion that, you know, we're potentially, we did this harmonic impulse wave where if we connect dots X, A, okay, B, C, that's a harmonic, extreme harmonic impulse. Throw it down 1618, okay, down to a 113 shark is like 41K. Some of you have posted this and replied this to me, and you are correct. That is a shark forming XABCD alignment. All good. And that's the framework we follow. That's what we do here. If you have any questions, I'm going to, especially new folks, all right, because a couple people said, oh, I thought you said it was going to 160. Yeah, I did, until we broke down off of the launch pad, which was 111. And by 107, I said, we need 93, and then probably more like 77. And if we crash 77, which we did, it's 39. And that's where we are. The rest of them, I really don't know how we come out of this. It's almost reminds me of like the dot-com bust. Again, where most of the dot-coms went out of business, never to return, and the ones that did last, like Amazon, well, yeah, they came around. But they all went through like an 80% correction. Ethereum, same deal. A deep retrace on, within the longer term uptrend. The dailies like this with, we've had some patterns. I've talked about why this looping retest here at 2000 had to happen, and here we are. Now what? Now what? The only thing I really feel is possible is going off of, and the bat pattern here that's getting generated, it really should be from there. But again, that's where confirmation comes into play. 886 is at 1900. Okay, and we still have to retest these lower levels. Nothing there. I mean, again, weekly is like this. And the other thing you're looking for, I mentioned this last time. I'm not here to completely trash Ethereum without basis. Okay? But you can't say long yet. We're riding this long-term uptrend. That's probably the best hope you have here. But I need to see a dot. We have an arrow. We're oversold. Now I need to see development. I need to see a dot somewhere in here. Like the last few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You guys get the picture? Okay, this is the software. Those dots are the proprietary HSI confirmation signals. And that would require 2 more green weeks. We haven't seen it yet. My concern is that the trend line, we overshoot the trend line, and you have some lower prior levels that are more like 1500, not 2K. Be aware of that. I'm seeing a lot of just flat out, it's time to buy, blah, blah, blah. And you're so early that just, on just by in terms of general strategy, why would you get in front of that knife? We have not produced a green candle in about 4 weeks. And the last 8 months have been 6 months have been just straight down. So it's way early. You're not there yet. And then I want to say the final piece of the puzzle. Like you really want a concrete signal for crypto. Like you really love crypto that much that you have to be involved with it. Guys, I wouldn't even look at it for a potential to go up until we got oversold. And it came all the way back and broke the 50 line on HSI. And you can go back and look. The last 2 times that happened there, and then over here, all right, we're still early. I think the risk is getting caught in a drawdown. And God knows we've all been through that. One or two more, and I'll take some requests. We got anything on NQ? We did just sell off. Wait, maybe we're down here with a trigger finally. Hold on. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Yeah, it's looking like it's rolling over. Little continuation dot up here. Ooh, that was nice. That 5-second bat pattern. Somebody, one of you guys on futures, track the 5-second time frame for me. See if we get something here. 30 seconds like that. A little shark. With a range-bound day like today, give me a dot. Give me a diamond dot. There we're under the hop. I'd look right now 292, but I don't have a dot yet. Let me stay here for a second. There's a check back on the 30-second one, and we still need a second green bar. That's confirmation in a type 1, but we need at least an arrow and a dot. You don't have that yet. 292. Also, HSI's got to get above the 50. There, just hit. Let's see here. Come on. We need one more green, and we're gonna see. There you go. Can we get above the 50? Go. HSI to turn up. Go. Hold on here. Yeah, it's not official until the bar closes. Well, yeah, see, I need a dot. And look, all right, now the dot's going to go again. It's not repainting. You have to understand that dot confirmation will not be official until the bar closes. That's 20 seconds. Let's see if we can get that. 292 is the number. And the way we look at that, also the open of that is at 91. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. HSI is not at the 50. There you go. Can you sit there now? Go. There you go. Deep in that zone. Here's a type 1. Can we get that? Oh, let me look really quick. Yeah, we're not going to have a diamond here. Generally, here's a trade right now. 292. Little hop. We got to there's the retest. Good. That's what I was just about to say. All right, there's the retest. Now start looking. The low at 88. So where's HSI? Get above the 50. If we don't get above the 50, we're like literally that check back bar. This is the first bar I would even consider it right here. So let's stay on this for a second. Amplified. I'm not crazy that we're just waffling here. That needs to get up. We're 290. Doesn't look good. This and look, HSI is rolling back over. That's not what it should do. Literally, there's confirmation. Check back. We're in this 3 to 5 window, and it is a type 1. So you're looking for that from 92 to 55. All right, that's a little better. Let me take a stab here, guys. Take a little stab here. 292. Hold on. We'll get a retest. Let's see if we get a little saucer separation out of here. I'm really liking this now. Can we get a 292 retest? I've got a limit order right there right now. I do like this. All right. 50. What is it doing at 50? Hold on. I'm in at 292.50 and it's not working. Don't like that already. It might be early. Hold on. We got to pop up here. Get above the 50. Flex it. No. Go. No, this is rejected. I'm going to scratch this out. Yeah, I already got taken out. I was minus. Oh, shit. Hold on. I had -8 there. Brutal. I had my stop in at I was in at 92. I was out at 84. The 50 level was not ready. And I'm sorry, I didn't even have that. Hold on. Let me go again here, guys. The 5 minute too. Tried to force that. We're not out of the. We're still oversold here on the 5 minute. Give me a second. I still say 292. This 30-second pattern is trying to put in some support. I was a touch early. $292 is the hop level. We got to get that. There you go, above the 50. Here, let's go back in one more time. There's the screen. I forgot to bring that over. And here's the simple bracket. Let me go 292. Go 1 at the hop. All right, I'm back in that. And oh, you got to be kidding me. Hold on. Damn it. Where's the screen? There you go. I'm going to go immediately to break even on this because I don't like what's going on here. Pop it out. Nope. I'm scratching this, guys. If I can clear it, yeah. All right, can you get that follow through? Oh my God. Hold on, guys. I just did the stupidest thing ever. Oh my God, guys. I just stopped out. I did the stupidest thing ever. I hit the. You guys see that? What I did there? I put it in the. I literally added where I should have been stopped out, and I got stopped immediately. God damn it. All right, that's two. Let's give it one more shot here. I'm going to wait for that 5 minute to turn around. early at the 90 area, and I got stopped out on the 2. Let's wait for that 5 minute to come around. I still like this 290 area, but the 5 minute isn't turned yet. Looking for a reaction trade off of that. Eek. Try again, guys. Let me reload one more time after this 5 minute comes out of here. 290 is the number. And I have my stop loss set to probably too tight. Yeah, see? That happened to me about 2 weeks ago when we first started doing that, where I was right at the edge and I got stopped out because I had the stop loss too tight. Brutal. Look at 292 now. There you go. Can we get the 5 minute above there? Brutal. That was it. 5 minute triggers out of here in about 1 minute, then you're gonna get an arrow to go. Trying to force it. Trying to do the dog and pony show for you guys. My mistake. But 292, there you go. That was stupid. 2 shots. 2 scalp outs. Losers. And there's the move. Brutal. Ah. All right, try it again. Let's see if we get the. I'm gonna wait for the next HSI to come out. But 290, man, tough. Go again on this. Go again. That was a brutal stop out, even on the second one, and I had it. The 8 points way too tight. Looking for that larger turnaround, and I still think it's a type 1. Type 1 to target 1. Look at that zone. What you know what, guys? I think the 5 minute was the dumb part about it because we're still oversold. Now I should be looking at it. There you go. Yeah. Take another shot here, guys. 92. Going to come in here and what was the low? 70 on that flush. Brutal. Probably need to be looking at 5. Was not looking at the 5 second either. And look, there was the 5 second dot. There was no confirmation. I'm looking 92. Let me tell you what I did wrong. 92 was the right number. Now 02. But that was like your micro confirmation. It happens. The other thing I've been trying to do when I'm kind of presenting these setups is the perfect entry. And that was down here. Had nothing until there. That's a you know what. There you go. So far so good. That's that I'm a little frustrated by that. Let's see if the 5 minute comes back. If we get that 5 minute, get a dot. I was really just looking for a confirmation trade, but I like where we are now. Yeah, well, look, the way I've got mine set up is that if I have a big flush out like it did on me, it's limited, like 200 points a contract. And that one flushed me out on 2. But that's all right. The one I had previously that you guys saw that I didn't want to talk about. I was long as I started today's session, and that was like 600. But it was way too late. Way too late. Looking for the next setup. Let's see here. We'll get another setup. That's a bitch though. 292. What about S&P? S&P's like this. Yeah, I mean, not much yet. Look, okay. S&P deep crab, but we're going to have to retest that at 72. Currently 77. Playing the return trade back to 72 from, oh man, 7,000. I still like it. I like it for into the afternoon. Can we get a dot down there on S&P at 72? That would be, it's probably the stronger trigger. There's RTH. Brutal. Let me come back to that. I'm keeping my eye right here on NQ. If you guys, if we get a dot here in the next 10 minutes, let me know. Just keep me posted here. We're hugging that 92 level. That was a bad execution on my part, and I hit the wrong side. I still think 92 is it. Go one more time. Uh, Let me come back to this in a second. I'm going to wait for that 5-minute signal because I think we're going to probably just be down here for a little bit until we resolve. Look, the 50, we're not at the 50 level on the 5-minute yet. Again, being early, it's almost bad as being in the wrong spot. Avoidable. Really quick, I wanted to finish up about Bitcoin because I just want to highlight, man, that was it. I'm going to have to chill. 92 was it, man. Here's a deal on last comments on Bitcoin. I'm kind of jumping around today because I wanted to hit that shark pattern. Should have given a little more time. But the deal with GBTC, guys, is much like the rest of what we saw with prior patterns getting retested. Simply, we have a looping retest here back at 15. And this is valid until we either run into an oversold signal, okay, or get HSI to come all the way out and back above the 50. So a lot of what I really wanted to kind of hammer home on crypto, despite what most people are saying, is this is not an oversold opportunity yet. In fact, we're at a spot where if we don't turn around, we can go free fall or at least lower until we can get that turnaround. I would say this, look, even amplified on GBTC has a ways to go to just tap the 30 level and then rebound. What? You know what? That was brutal. Gave back that first trade I had when I started today. Anyway, that's the deal on GBTC, Ethereum. The last two that really even matter of consequence are Solana here. Okay, go back. All-time 886 is like this. Here, there. Let me get the Binance feed up. Now I see NASDAQ under 92 at 77. It's that 5-minute check back. I know better than that. Anyway, Solana's got two possibilities, and I'm firmly of the opinion that we're here. One second. One second. Solana is the big bat retest. Where is it? Come on. Hold on. There it is. $47. 47.53. Currently 82. And much like Ethereum, you're not even interested in it until we have two more, two green candles. We're checking back this. We failed 105. There's really nothing. I'm thinking we could be free falling here down to 47 quickly. And I'm thinking maybe 2 or 3 months. You finish this, and that would be the looping retest. Just be careful. I'm seeing too much of that out there. Somebody wake me up if NASDAQ prints that 5-minute dot, please. And we'll go again. The other one is, sorry, not Binance Coin. It's XRP. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and really kind of hammer it home that the only possibility, and this is quite a statement, the only possibility is first an all-time 886 reset at 65 cents with the possibility to go do the looping retest of the prior weekly bat 31 cents. Those are the only two possibilities now for this entire setup. You're 140. I'm going to say 65 cents, guys. And you don't have anything oversold at all. You're in there. HSI's hitting on the weekly chart. That's the first time since before we had the big explosion move. Consider that a round trip, at least on HSI. And the monthly basis is probably the most severe of all, where we're deeply oversold. And this is specifically for those people holding XRP that think it's going to replace the entire world system, which is delusional. All right? You're not looking at XRP until it pops out, reverses, and gets above the 50. You could be a year away from that, and you could still lose like 75% of the current price. Definitely, this is a 50% haircut from here. I want to be out in front of these crazy price predictions because, measuring levels and possibilities is a big part of the effectiveness of what we do. And we can't do that. We can't lay it out there like that. Then I think we're just, throwing lines on a chart. No, I'm like, look, NQ is doing it right there. 92, guys, is the number on NQ. Did we get the dot? I'll come back to that in a second. We got time. 92 on NQ, guys. Don't just wait for the 5-minute though. The 5-minute's going to give us that trigger. I don't think it's ready yet. Talk to me. I was early. And I'll say this one. I haven't looked at this in a while, but Stellar Lumens, that was a big one for us over a year ago. But you look at it now, it's a total reset. And like all of these others, there's only one place for Stellar Lumens to go back to, and that's 8 cents. What was down there? I mean, it's not a surprise. Hold on. Did I removed that? 1 second. Let me bring this back here. Oh, there's NASDAQ chart. We got a 5-minute yet? Hold on. No, I'm waiting on a 5-minute dot, guys. 92 was the number. But if we don't get the dot, then this is done. And that was just a reaction from 92 back up to 350. I'll come back to that. I'll finish up on that. X Stellar Lumens, just to prove my point. Okay. Was it Coinbase? Was that the chart, the pattern? About 15 months ago, we went hyper long on this puppy. It was all the way back at like, there you go. It was right here. Right around 9 cents. We went crazy long. And there were some patterns. Maybe it was the daily chart as well. We had some patterns back there. This, for lumens, proves my point that all this was a hype run. I consider myself lucky to have caught this. And like everything else, where's the 886, guys? 886 retest is 14 cents. We hit it. That all-time 886. I don't think there's anything else here to take a look at. You know, you're just doing these crazy kind of one-off push moves, but look at this. Descending highs, never good. And you're talking 10 years of action here. I mean, sure, it's impressive if you're all the way down here, or, you know, like last time from there to 50, 60 cents was amazing. But there's zero sustainability in this thing. That's almost every crypto. But the big news is that not only is XRP going under a buck, XRP is going more like 50 cents ish. And we see it again with Zcash. So Zcash was a big 1618. Now it's just another 886 reset. Unsustainable push higher. There to there. Where's the 886 come in? 100 bucks. I've been looking for things that are actually still up. Any crypto, like a single crypto that is constructive. I'm hard pressed to find any. XMR, another one, went to 760. You're already 60% off the all-time high. I don't see this thing holding anywhere in here. All your numbers are back at like 150, guys. And this is the way that crypto moves. NQ stuck at 81. We get a dot yet? Let me know. Waiting on that dot. That's your story for Monero as well. Zero, guys. And Bitcoin does what it's going to do. The rest of these drop. The only other one that I mentioned, I looked at, was Tron. And I'm curious about this, but frankly, I'm not really interested in anything crypto because of what's happened. It's been so disappointing. But that is about the only one. I don't know if you guys have anything else that would even be a consideration. I can't find it. And the rest of them look like they're about to go to basically negative zero. The other thing that I talked about with my crew yesterday, and I just briefly today with you guys, looking at the total crypto market cap at 2 trillion now, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, with really nothing developing. You know, we've had a few back-to-back patterns here on the daily, and you're right here about 2 trillion. I have a problem with the whole market if crypto in general, total index, starts going under 2 trillion. I'm looking for signs of things where the bigger breakdown, and I mean bigger breakdown in crypto occurs, and it's probably here flat 2 trillion. Almost broke down last week. If not, wait on it. Look at it. Because it's under 2 trillion. If you're curious about clear levels, crypto, it becomes a disaster. Total market cap under 2 trillion. And just go back to each cycle again. We're doing every one of these retracements are, from here, that's the micro, the first kind of big pause. There's your 786 minimum. Next one, 2019 all the way up to 2000 and what was that, 22? Okay, 786 there. Final one. What's a 786? And it's not a. I'm not gonna knock or deny the fact that that's an interesting trending chart, but the 786 on this monthly retrace is about 1.5 trillion. And you're talking 25 plus percent haircut. Plus, we need a dot. We're gonna need an arrow and a dot, which is months of price action. Months. I see NQs starting to rally off of that 90. Son of a bitch. So that's the last thing I'm gonna say about crypto. 2 trillion floor, break 2 trillion and go to 1.5, and we're not even thinking up until we get some signals. All right, I might review crypto once a week going forward. I just don't believe it. Look at 290 here. You know what? All right, I got shook out, and now look at what this shark is doing for you. Brutal, brutal. Should have taken a secondary shot. Let's go back to this here. The 5 minutes now putting in a diamond, still needs a dot though. Potentially this 290 could be big for the day. Look at that. It happens, guys. You saw me kind of whiff on 2 tries. I had a good morning, man. I was having a good morning and it whiffed that. 355. Yeah, the SPY looks all right. The SPY is, it could, like I said, it could be off all-time new highs. Not far off of that. Do I think it's, what's up, Echo? Do I think it's wise to stay with Walmart, Microsoft versus Hecla Mining or LAC? Yeah, I think so. I think those big stocks are probably the best way to play the next few years. You're gonna wait for the retracements. Thing is one of those bigger stocks, when they bottom and they start going again off of, like, Microsoft's a classic example, somewhere under 400 generally starts the next leg, the next weekly, monthly leg. So yes, Microsoft, Amazon, here, down here, waiting on Google, looking at Oracle, looking at Cisco, Meta, all the names you guys know. Well, that was our trade, guys, and it just went. Let me show you what really was the issue here. Should have taken a secondary shot because that was the better confirmation. But as I was saying, HSI really was not trending above the 50. It's better spot here. Like, I'm okay with taking that first loss. The second loss was dumb. I honestly trying to force that. And here we go. Or 314. I'm looking for the target one up at 55. That's a, you know what. And we're going to get this dot on the 5 minute that, yeah, there you go. You just entered into it. Diamond dot right there. That's big for today, guys. We're still stuck in this range, but, we're going back to 55. There's 20. Should be up 30 now. Damn it. I don't know. Give me a couple more, guys. Let's before I get too frustrated. Give me a couple things you guys want to look at. Wayne saying Rivian. Let me bring up the other chart. We'll go side by side here. Well, Rivian hit that. Here, I'll bring this up. Rivian hit 1377. Remember that? Remember we were waiting for the T2? 1377. Look at that. Okay. Now 1523. I don't have confirmation yet on weekly. Where are we on that? But we're close. I would say for the first time here on Rivian, start looking. It might be next week, but we're oversold on the weekly. We're going to pivot out. You're going to get an arrow very soon. 1377 was the objective all along. And I would start looking for this here. Break the downtrend. Use that 1377 as your trigger, and then we're going to get an arrow here or here, and then you can start looking for the return move. This is the first time. We've been looking at Rivian since it was headed up. It was 17, 20, and then it printed the pattern. And I said, all right, we need a retracement, 17 minimum. We got to target 2. Okay, no confirmation yet, but we're about to get it. That's in a good spot. I'll tell you what's not a good spot. My brain. How the hell did I whiff that? All right, try again. We'll try again here. Fish hook pattern on gold. I think gold needs a retest. That first move was just a reaction, type 1 reaction. What else you guys have? Yes, the ADD is arrow, diamond, dot. We want to see the arrow and the diamond first. Like, let me here bring it up. Where's the last one I've seen? I'll go in a 5-second here. It's the same each way. Arrow, diamond, dot. Where's a good one? Yeah, this isn't great, but there's an arrow here and a dot. Diamond, dot at a T2. That's better confirmation. And that just happened up to 22. Type 1, type 2. That's been something that I'm thinking about combining that. So share a little update with you guys on the software. First of all, if you want the software, get the 2-week free trial. Go over here. Where'd you go? Hold on. Go here. 2-week free trial. Send your username to hpc@sr-analyst.com. All right, get with that. Now, arrow dot diamond, I told you guys that we have this bottom, or I have it. You don't have it. What you have is a diamond that is built in. Everyone gets that. That's kind of the bonus confirmation. But there is a panel. And look at this right here. Okay, here's an arrow dot diamond. I prefer to have the diamond before, but you're still in that ballpark area where we're back here at 95. Target 2 is 293. You're looking in that area for the end of the reversal. Okay, you start looking. But it relates to the panel here. That's the combo panel. And I think probably need about 2 or 3 more weeks. I will release this to everyone where you have this additional panel and you treat it the same way. This is the combo panel. Are we above the 50, below the 50? Okay, I'm probably going to tweak this so that it lines up where amplified agrees with it. Like if we have a oversold reading on the combo indicator, but amplified is not above it, it filters out the signal. So that diamond just not ready yet. It's arrow, diamond, dot. This is the better of the two. Arrow, diamond, dot. and we trigger off the retest of the dot. I'm hoping we get one more setup. Did we get the 5 minute trigger? No, the five. All right, here you go. On the 5 minute right now, and this ADD signal does require arrow, the retest. Okay, there's a diamond. We're going to get a dot on the next green bar because there's one and there's a second. Just wait for it. Wait for it. I'm looking at that area. But that 290 trade, that was a whiff by me. I was wanted to jump it. Let's see if we get that. About a minute 30 until the next bar. Couple more. What's going on? Rooski's in the house. How you doing, man? A couple other ones. ARM. When that dot, let's see if we get that dot in a minute. I'll go through. You guys have a few more you want to look at. ARM Holdings. ARM. Weekly. Where are we? Didn't this thing get clipped recently? Yes, it did. Weeklies like that. Daily. This reminds me of SMCI too. I don't have any patterns on this. There, yeah, okay. I'm confusing this with SMCI. ARM does have a setup, but it's 86. I know it's 127 right now. I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it until we get the type 2. It's going to take a while. But I'm sticking to that setup there, 86. Looping type 2. SMCI is like this. It's just a matter of time. I know it's been bouncing around quite a bit, but this is a perfect type 2, guys, and that's at $22. That's all the way down here. Looks like it's ready to go, but don't jump it. 22. That's why I think some of these are setting up where if we get a shakeout pretty hard, it's going to register a bunch of patterns. Yeah, SMCI at 22. I hear you, Pete. I'm looking for that. Rumble as in Rumble. I know we forever we said $7 was the opportunity to get back in because you do have patterns here on Rumble. You're just where's confirmation? It's more like 550. And this is another one where it's more of a recovery play, but I think it's just, it's in time. The weekly was like that. There, last weekly check back was 560. So just, we've said generally that $7 for Rumble was a place to look at this. Now, most recent confirmation last week, maybe it's like 560. You're still okay. But again, this is why we want trending opportunities. This could take months to get out of here. I like it, but it's not going to be aggressively moving until we can clear it. Get above 7, back above 7-ish. Couple more. NASDAQ, well, if NASDAQ holds this 90 area, we could have a little reaction back up. I agree that the 5 minute looks lower. I'll finish up on that. I'm waiting for that dot. I'm just waiting for the 5 minute dot. And this is just a short term day trade. We already had the first move back to from 90 to 325. We were down here and I got just shook out. Regardless, that's still the play. Couple other ones. Hymns. We talked about that. Why that failed 30. And then it went to 16. And I'm still not touching it. Hymns back at 17. It was the big this weekly pattern. Remember this Gartley? The Gartley. The dot never populated. Okay, we started looking at that at 33. I said, okay, let's get the check back. We'll get 1 and 2 green candles, and then we can start looking at it. Zero confirmation, and that's why we do confirmation. It needs to look like that. Hymns, I'm not, I think that's a massive breakdown. Massive. You're going to be swimming for a while. Had all of the things we want to see. Steady pattern, last couple of years, up, had the big move, looking for the retrace, okay, and needed a dot in that zone. No confirmation, no trade. It's kind of like the way Robinhood sailed through its pattern, but Robinhood put in a dot just yesterday. That's a big difference. Like we had the confirmation, the first green arrow, but again, arrow, diamond, dot. This is arrow, dot, diamond now, but at least you populated some oversold confirmation. Man, NASDAQ's back above 300. SOB, you know that. Couple others. LAES, yeah, speculative quantum play. Just, it's going to take a lot of time on that one. We've been saying $4. It was at 5. And then, look, get some patterns here at 4. I think, again, this is just another one of these big recovery plays. It's going to take time. That's all. I mean, you're squeezed here. We need to see a dot. We definitely need to see a dot on this one. So keep an eye on that. Early. Like a lot of these are going to take time. I think everyone looks at these and it says, oh, we've got a massive setup. There's a pattern here. And we're going to immediately explode. This is still not trending. This is a recovery play. Looking for this base off of here and start a resumption on that trend line. But it's a longer term play. It's not like Amazon. It's not like Microsoft that are on steady uptrends. LAC, Lithium America, amazing pattern, right? I mean, LAC's been one that we have talked about for a long time, but it's still a recovery play. Meaning, had the big post-IPO hype, 886 reset. So can we get to target 1 eventually? I think so. I think, in due time, but remember, that's a monthly chart. Taking your time, 398 is still support, and we're holding in there. Not a big deal. Again, lithium, a miner, it got crazy. It's doing the retest, and I would be looking for that next spot. Where's the next jump on point? There's the dot on the daily. So again, this could bounce from like 450 to $7, and you're still grinding. I don't expect this thing to go ballistic, not for a while, and that's not how you're playing a stock like this. It's a longer term move. PLG is the same thing. Platinum Limited Group, and here you go. Here's a dot. We have a pattern at 188, but look, finally yesterday, this was from 2 weeks ago. Looking for the return move, give us the dot. I would prefer to retest XA. I don't know if it's going to happen. I'll start watching this. What about the weekly? Oh, this is the weekly chart. That's right. It's another bat. This might be this again. Another one that's going to need more time. There's an arrow diamond dot, so you can't fight that. PLG's not going to be taking off anytime soon. It is. I want to see that full retest. But even with the weekly chart, where are we? Yeah, you're just starting to roll over now. The minor plays, guys, they typically do this kind of crazy blast off and then come back and retrace. So this is a big recovery play on PLG. Um, I think it's great for an early first move, but these are slow to really get out of the hole, and that's a hole. This is a hole. You need to clear like 6 for this to really get going. It reminds me of the way UEC used to trade, Uranium Corp. You know, you had patterns like that. You go back to UEC. And you had a lot of patterns at the 1, 2, 3 mark. Here, patterns here, patterns here. But it took a long time for that to really explode. And that's LAC, PLG. That's the kind of thing you're looking for. I would say even a higher level of confirmation. We had a big thrust up move, come back, give me another bullish oversold at a higher level, like there and there too. And a final shark. Couple more. We looked at that. Oh, solar. Well, you guys know I like the TAN ETF. I've liked it the whole time, and we're now 59. We've been talking about this Invesco Solar ETF since 33. XA, it's a massive bat pattern. We had an arrow. There's the diamond. No dot, though. Not perfect confirmation, but target 1. This is still a type 1. We've been on that all along. Target 168. That's where that goes. Solar Edge. I'm going to bring up 1 or 2 that look phenomenal. Solar Edge is okay. I'm concerned that this is not going to get out of the $35, the $30 hole. But I do like the fact that, okay, we had the first move on Solar Edge. And we have a crab, target 1. I wish I had confirmation. I don't. But going back to 34, off of 34, this could be a potential bump from like 34 to 44. 44, maybe 52. I'll give you a couple, though, to be looking at. End phase, guys. This thing had a wake-up phase. Speaking of end phase, off of a crab pattern after this crazy extended, I mean, this thing got crushed over the last many years. Just look at this chart. That was 320. Down here was 24 bucks. You're now 51. I like what's going on here. This is good for at least a target 1 up to 72. How can we jump on it? Hourly? Give me something on an hourly basis. Retrace that crazy pop, or is it just going to keep drifting higher? We'll get another oversold. I don't know at what price, but I'll be looking for something like that. Maybe it's back at 50 or 48 or something to play to 72. But that falls into the same as like TAN and First Solar. Although First Solar's, I think, is played out pretty aggressively towards the end of last year. First Solar's like this. Remember that recovery move? Beautiful patterns. I mean, look. If I'm reading the patterns properly, and I should, we go target 1, type 1, target 1, retest. Look, T1, T2 off of that pattern. It's a bat. It's a retested crab. And then what happened? You got thrown down Now we're target one. I don't have any confirmation, but I would start looking for this thing to turn around and do a return move. I am bullish on solar. All right. And I think First Solar is, one of the leaders. Can we stabilize down here? It's early. But I think this is a good retrace. And yeah, look, there's the target. There was a type 2 on the daily yesterday. Amazing. Type 2 on yesterday. Keep an eye on that. Solar, guys. I know maybe that's kind of boring for some. These are big, in a big spot. What was the other one? CSIQ? CSIQ. Canadian Solar. This was, at the low. This was different. It's been a while. CSIQ is a couple things. Prior Gartley, another bat. You're currently 21 bucks. I'm looking for this down here. Like, yeah, there's the daily. Just retested yesterday at around 19. So if you're looking for something that's in a position to turn around, these solar plays are there. The other one, was it CSUN? No. It escapes me. Hold on. There was one other one. It was a big weekly type 2. No, was it ASTI? Although that's amazing. Talk about recovery, right? $1.50 to 7. But this wasn't the one I was thinking about. Just a little perspective. Amazing. Let me see if I can find. There was one other one. And it was a week. I forget which one it was. Was it SCI? No, I'll remember it. I'll bring it up next time. I like some of these stocks. But I think the easiest way, and I've said this forever, is that the tan is the way to go. Cactus Leo, you are a genius. It was Sunrun. That was it. It was Sunrun. And it was this weekly. There you go. Thank you. We've got patterns looking left in these solar stocks. And this is something, I know it's been a while since I talked about this. 1680. But this has got everything you want to see off the low, where we're in a type 1 already. It's going to take time, but you're looking for target 1 at 58.87. Same way you're looking for target 1 on tan. But that was it. Thank you. It was Sunrun. I knew it was a solar something. Yeah. Couple more. What's up, Doc? I haven't looked at Upwork in a while, but I can look at that. Charles Schwab. Amazing. You know, Charles Schwab was like the first stock, or one of the first stocks I ever bought. Didn't hold it. Traded it. That didn't really work out. Here, I'm gonna date myself. It was 100 shares there. Like, what was it? March? When was it? I got to think about this. It was 92. Amazing. Schwab is, I don't have anything on it. All-time new highs. I don't have an entry. to get in on it, and I don't have a problem with it as a long-term trending stock. You just need to wait for oversold. You're down 8 today. Big deal. Got nothing. Probably, looking for 89. It'll be obvious, guys. Again, that's maybe half the battle is simply you line up hot moving companies. Can you wait for daily or even 4-hour oversold signals to jump back on? And it's been a while. It's been like 8 or 9 months since your last oversold signal. But like there and here on the daily. And if you're really impatient and you think you need to jump on it, go to the 4-hour chart. But look at what we have in the 4-hour here. Perfect type 2. Bat. Crab. So, I'm just be patient with it. I'd say line them up and wait for it to come in. This is still lower for Schwab. I think it's probably 90. How do I decide if I want to trade a stock or I want to hold it? It's a great question. I think a lot of it depends on the type of stock. Like if it's a top 50 stock or 100 stock market cap, you're probably considering that more for investment. But the other consideration is like total capital. You've got long-term stock holdings. You should. Things that, look, even if you buy 10 shares of like Tesla, you buy Tesla at the right place to hold it forever. But if you want to trade, like the Walmart thing, the Walmart trade is, for me, it's not even worth it to trade Walmart. Keep buying it on retracement. You know that thing is in a steady uptrend. Now, if you're in a more speculative stock, something like a Rivian, I would be trading a Rivian more than trying to buy and hold it. Because if you get that move, all right, if it's going to be a big move, it's going to blast off. But Rivian is in a position where it's like, hey, you're looking at it at 13 to 15. It probably goes to 20 at best or 22. And that would be about it. These other trending stocks, the Walmart, the Caterpillar, the Microsofts of the world. Your assessment is that these are the big market cap winners, right? Microsoft, classic example. It will continue to float with the rest of the market. It will continue to grow in terms of price on that long-term uptrend. I would rather, with a stock like Microsoft, be buying it on retracements, and just add. Like I said, if it's 10 shares, okay, you're looking to just sock them away like a baseball card. I think of it like that with longer term holdings. I want high quality companies. I want them on a retracement and an uptrend. And I want to buy them, okay? And I want to just hold them to continue on this uptrend. I mean, we saw this with Apple, okay? And this is something I brought up a long time ago, even with Apple. Apple been ping-ponging in this uptrend. But every time we hit the lower end of the channel, follow through to the upside. And Apple's not, this is not exhibiting any kind of a top. This is just pure continuation. It's different than Bitcoin as well. You look at Apple the last 10 years. How many times has Apple retraced a 78.6% move? 0. And what you see in a lot of these, again, you just look at the chart, do the analysis. What are the major retracements on these kind of weekly, monthly moves? Maybe a 382. So the 382 is your friend, especially in a long-term uptrend. Look at the last one. This is from last year. Big up, 382, almost to the dime. And then you go again. Keep that in your pocket, guys. Be aware of that. And the best way to consider it is like, okay, let's say you have $100,000. Let's say, forget it. Let's say you have 10,000 bucks. Okay, take 70% of that, 75% of that, and look for those longer term opportunities, and then take the other 25% and trade it, swing trade it if you want. Keep buying the weekly retraces, especially with software, with the dot, monthly oversolds, dot diamond configurations. They come along literally like once a year on weekly charts. Major opportunities to buy these stocks on the cheap. They're coming about once every 12 to 15 months. We might be getting one right now with Amazon and with Microsoft. You know, Amazon's like this, weekly chart. And look at the last few times we've been oversold here. All right, with an arrow here, arrow, diamond, dot, bang. Look at that, continuation up. Arrow, check back. So we're going to get something soon on Amazon, and in a major way. You know, this big retrace from 250 back to 200, that's almost done, and you got to be thinking this is a spiraling, growing creature that we're going to put in a low somewhere down here, 200, 180, 190, something like that. And you're thinking of the next iteration to go to like 270. But we're not retracing. We're not doing crypto style moves of giving back 78.6% of the multi-year progress. Maybe it's a 382. That's why I'm so adamant about demanding charts that look like this. Yeah, Doc, the 786 phenomenon was the last 4 cycles. That's why I don't get it. Like I really have a problem, and I think people are, you know, guys with like 100,000, multi-100,000 followers. They have, you know, and they're just saying, oh, this is a buy, this is a buy, this is every one. When you look at the chart, I mean, going down here, I mean, people like this guy and people like that guy, you know, saying, oh, okay, it's going to 140,000 now. No, it's not. It's actually going to 40,000, dummy. And I've got the receipts to prove it, okay? You know, I'm backing this up with evidence, history. And if you don't want to do retraces, or you don't want to do like patterns and just do simple retracements, again, this is the crypto evidence, the receipts. There, 11, 15, 19, 23, and now 2027, guys. This is the advantage that you got at your fingertips. All right, anybody can do this. The harmonic thing is about just showing the evidence, showing the charts, showing the examples, and applying it in the same way, no matter what the time frame is. And it's also kind of just this sophisticated way of waiting for the market to give you a retracement to buy low and sell high. Buy at a 618, buy at a 786, sell at a 1618. But they're measured levels, and it's clear. We're not just saying, you know, you guys know how I've been on this really since October 15th, November 15th, and then, you know, December 15th is like, guys, this is happening. And now we're 69K on Bitcoin. You know, and it does not. There's no, this is no rebound from last week. You're not even above last week's close. We closed last week at 70,000 and we're not above that. You can ignore this, and people do, at your own expense. For the way that we frame out the markets, and we can use Bitcoin as the parameter, the proxy, and define parameters for crypto in general around it. That 786 there, I'd even say that it's a little bit low, 39. You're like this with your 786. Let's try to get that as exact as possible. Not to mention that it did top exactly at the cycle date. I mean exact. And this stuff has done this repeatedly. I'm gonna have to check a couple of data feeds, but our 786 is probably more like 35 or 36K. I'll go through that. I'll go through that, and next time I'll come up with some exact numbers. Um, Great to see you guys. I'm gonna do. Let me just circle back here. This was the last trade that I whiffed, and we look at this here. You guys notice how 290 is held? 291. Anything here? Not really, but that did in terms of a day trade. All right, there's the 5 minute. That's pretty interesting. Back here at 290. Arrow, diamond, dot on RTH. Where are we? We're not above the 50. I'd look for this here, guys, for the rest of the day. There was a comment earlier that this looked like it go fall off a cliff. Maybe. It's been kind of a muted day. I'd look right here. 290 is the number, guys. And then you have HSI. The only thing that will send this, we got what's 240. Wow. Into the close. This is what I'd look for. If we're going to get that range move back up, get above the 50. I'm not crazy about it on here because HSI is rolling back over, but we're not even above 50 yet. That has to happen first. I jumped a little early on those first two. And that, I didn't even want to get into that trade that I had when I entered into today. That doesn't matter. I was still looking for this. Go back up. And just frame it out. 350. That's target one. 355. And maybe back here at what's this? This little shark is 81. Yeah, it's down here, but the 5 minute time frame, again, development. Wait for amplified to get above the 50. Then what I'd look for, from 290 to 355, above there to 350. But I got to get going. Look, that's what I got for today, guys. Yeah, we'll come back on Thursday. See if we can hit a couple more. Again, that was first one should have worked out, but we'll get more on this. I do like this. This is arrow, diamond, dot. That's our classic ADD confirmation there. That's worth a shot at. See, 290. It won't register acceleration until we get above 50 there, but it's close. That's the play into the close. If we get above 50. Beyond that, jobs tomorrow. I do think, guys, maybe tomorrow we see target one. We retest it. We're not out of the woods by no stretch of the imagination. Again, the hourlies like this. You've got some overbought hourly diamond dot where 370 this is immediate. You're really squeezed, immediate resistance. We'll check that on Thursday. Uh, yeah, that's what I have for today. Listen, I'll give away a package. Come on back on Thursday. I'll give away a 30-day package then. Everyone else, just listen. I've been doing this to keep it kind of loose as I get this going because we're doing some more live trading sessions. DM me on Discord. You want to get a free 30-day trial. Send me a note, but you got to be with the software. So hit me there. Everyone else, get your TradingView username over to hpc at sr-analyst.com. And then we'll be back on Thursday, same time. So hit subscribe to get the update notifications when we go live. Give me a like, I guess. And then until then, as always, guys, we'll see you next time.